Welcome to RB Show with Honey. RB means repairer of the bridge. This is where we discuss matters that concerns you and that concerns me. Be blessed. Today we'll be discussing a wonderful and interesting topic on how to excel in your career or in your examination. Are you looking forward to having more grades and more marks? You've tried severally and you are still failing, or you are still not having the marks you wish to have. In the house today, I have a guest who had 1,590 marks in S.A.T. And S.A.T exam, if you are aware and you are well informed of S.A.T exam, S.A.T exam just has 1,600 marks. So my guest today has 1,590 marks out of 1,600, meaning that he gave the examiner just 10 marks. So today, my guest will be sharing with us how to excel and how to pass in our examination. We want to know his own secret. How was he able to combine his career and with many other things, or he just read all through? So today with me, welcome my guest, Daniel Chikuderat, in the studio. You're welcome, Daniel.
Thank you very much for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
Yes, we are glad to have you. I know he is a busy man, but thank God we have him here today. So Daniel, when we heard of your math, we were wondering, how were you able to do it? Okay, we know that the first thing you said in the Punch newspaper, what's it called, we saw, the Punch interview we saw, is that you said it was God. We know it was God. But as a student, we are all curious. I'm curious, my viewers are curious. How are you able to prepare for this examination? What was your reading pattern like? So let's hear from you, Daniel.
Okay, so before I started reading, I asked myself what I wanted. So for bigger schools, we aim for 1.5 and above. So I gave myself a very high score to aim for, like a 1.550.
Wow.
So before I went for that, I thought about it. How do I get a 1.550? Do I just start reading? I said no. What are my strengths? I'm stronger in this, I'm stronger in that. So I put the one I wasn't that strong in, and I started focusing on it. Every day I'll take an hour to read. I'll pick a topic for an hour, just a topic, go through it, answer as many questions as I could, and I'll leave it. Next day, another topic. If I didn't finish it, I'll go back to it.
Wow.
So one topic a day. Then at the end of the week, I'll review everything I've done. Then when I could see that I was getting better, I started taking tests a lot. So between August and October, when I finally wrote the exam, I wrote at least 10 tests.
Wow, 10 tests.
Yes. So I could see that, okay, I'm getting there. So it wasn't just about picking a book. I planned what I was going to read. And even though I was reading, I gave myself breaks. Like when I was tired of reading, I didn't say burn the midnight or no, because there was no point. So what I would do, when I'd read to the point that I knew I was tired, I would stop, go to sleep, refresh, and come back the next day.
Oh, so from what Daniel said now, Daniel said he picks a topic a day, read it, take more questions on it. So he does that, a topic per day, read, revise, and at the end of the week, he revises, and whenever he's tired, he sleeps, wakes up again, and refresh. My question is, you said 1 hour per day out of like 24 hours. So for curious students, if you take 1 hour per day, what happened to the remaining 23 hours in a day? Were you still going to school? Do you have other tuition centers you attended? Or do you have somebody who actually coached you all through these processes?
Yes, I went to a center for a few months before the exam. So I wasn't just reading. I had people who were teaching me and everything like that.
Oh, you had people who were teaching you. So what happened to the remaining 23 hours? You mentioned at least 1 hour. So we are curious to know, is it okay for me? Should I just take 1 hour and then the remaining 23 hours I can free myself?
It depends on you really. I know my strengths. Let's do it like that. I know my strengths, and I know that if I go longer than that, I may lose focus. So I did what I can do. That's what I always tell people. Don't do past yourself because you want to impress. I'm
Mm.
not reading for anybody, I'm reading for myself. And I know that I can is if I read for more than 1 hour, I'll lose focus, I might get tired. So I did 1 hour. Sometimes it wasn't 1 hour, sometimes I would get to a topic and I'll be like, oh, I'm getting there, I'm feeling this topic. And I will go on, go on, go on until I realize that, oh, 2 hours are gone, maybe nearly 3 hours. So the benchmark was 1 hour for time to go over that. And
Oh.
I had to go to school, so a lot of time went to going to school and coming back. So
Hmm. That's another question that we have for Daniel. So, can you hear Daniel? Daniel said the benchmark is 1 hour. At times, it goes for 3 hours, considering how interesting the topic is studying is. And my question now is, how were you able to combine? Because I remember there was a time we were talking. You said, I learned that you are the head boy in your school as well. So, how were you able to combine the responsibility of a head boy, preparing for WAEC, and also preparing for S.A.T, going for tuition? Is it that your life is just around the circle of school, then tuition center, back home, eat, relax, read, sleep? Was that the circle during those periods?
well, no, I had already left the post of the head boy. I had already passed it on to the next person before I started reading. And I did not mix my WAEC with my S.A.T. I took my WAEC seriously. I took it first. So I read for my WAEC, finished it, waited for at least a week or two to get myself back. Then I started reading. So I took WAEC seriously, took it first. Because there was no point. If I tried to jump back everything, both of them would suffer. So I tried to take each one seriously. Each one seriously.
Hmm. So from what I could get, you did not merge WAEC preparation with S.A.T preparation. You took them one after the other. So after WAEC, you took some days break to relax. Then you start your S.A.T preparation. That is good. Now another question, Daniel. Do you have relationship with your siblings, or is just book and book and book and book? How is your family relationship? With how many siblings do you have? Your dad and your mom? Are you from a nuclear family or polygamous family? How are you able to combine their own distractions with your preparation?
Okay, yeah, I'm from a nuclear family. My dad, my mom, and my three siblings. But at that time, everybody understood that what I was doing. They knew that she's preparing for an exam. And it's not as if I still won't talk to them. I talk to them normally before I read, after I read, during the day. But they know that when I'm reading, oh, he's reading, let's leave him alone for this time. If we need anything, if it's urgent, we'll go and meet him. But everybody understood what I was doing. So they all gave me a little space to be able to prepare.
Wow, they understood and they gave you your space. And at your own leisure time, you come back, interact with them. Then when you need to go back to your space, you enter your space. Another question, Daniel. Thank God for the relationship with your family. Is it that you don't have house chores you do in the house when you're preparing for your exam? You know, as a teenager, as a youth, mom might say, Daniel, you are sweeping the floor. Daniel, you are mopping the floor. You need to wash my car. You need to do this. Or you have people doing all the house chores for you.
No, I still did my house chores because there's something you can't just leave it alone because you're reading. Even before, regardless of the fact that you're writing an exam, you still have duties. So maybe you just know when to do it. Like if I want to wash the car, I'll probably do it very early in the morning before I go to school. Or if I want to shoot something, I'll probably do it during the weekends where I have longer time to do whatever I want to do. So because I had the exam, didn't mean I still did what I was supposed to do.
So Daniel has told us that preparation for exam does not stop us from house chores, does not stop us from having a relationship with our family. Now another question we have for Daniel. Daniel, do you have any social life at all? Or is just it's just book? What's your social life like? I learned you love football. So is it that you love streaming football, love playing football, or maybe I'm just guessing? So tell us about your social life.
Well, I love doing both. I play football, I watch football, and regards to my social life, I still talk to a decent amount of people.
When you were preparing for your exam, you had time to watch football and play football. Tell my viewers out there how you're able to match preparing for exam with still watching football and playing football. So we want to understand. You know, some parents are out there that they will say, no, You have exam to prepare for. You dare not play football. You have to be reading 24 hours round the clock. So when your mom on you that you must not watch football, your dad that you must be reading, how were you able to manage football with reading and preparation for your exam and still maintaining the focus and not distracted?
So obviously, like I said, I had a plan. So and then writing this exam was very important for me. So I had a limit. There's sometimes that they will play football outside and I wouldn't go because I knew that you have to read. But other times I need to play football because I've been here for too long. I have to. Doesn't mean that I won't watch football. No, I have to. Some things I just have to. But there are times when I know I haven't read. You haven't met your benchmark for today. Sometimes I will just take a little while. Even if I didn't reach even if I had to break it, I will still make sure I met my 1 hour. So I'll do a little, I'll start earlier, break it, watch what I wanted to watch, then go back in the night.
Wow, wow. So I think Daniel relaxes his mind with football, and his parents understands that, and they really understand that, okay, Daniel has been reading, he needs to relax. He relaxes through sleeping, he relaxes through watching football, and the parents understand, so they don't distract him. So Daniel, I got to know also that in your church you are the teenagers president, and you also take the teenagers in discipleship class. And I'm sure before you take that, taking them in the church, preparing them for discipleship class, you must have prepared for that as well, or you just come to church on Sunday and you just start teaching them. So how are you able to manage church responsibility, your teenage church responsibility, while you are preparing for S.A.T exam?
For me, they didn't clash.
How?
Is if you shouldn't. I don't think personally. I don't spend all my time reading. I know if you spend all your time reading, you get tired and all those things. So I leave space for other things. Reading didn't take the what's the word? It didn't take all my time. So I left space for other things. There's something else I needed to do. If I knew that I need to read something, if I have something to prepare for, I will make sure I do it. Because I'm not going to give the excuse that I'm sorry, I was reading. It's not a valid excuse. Even though I was reading.
You know, that's what some parents love to hear and some friends love to hear. Don't disturb me, I am reading, and they leave you alone in your space. But now you are telling us that reading is not a valid excuse to tell people. So that sounds somehow, Daniel.
Yes, if you don't need to tell people that you are reading, if you are really serious, you will find a way to make sure that other things don't clash. If you want to read for 4 hours, that's fine. But if you're going to read for 4 hours, make sure that this thing is not neglected. And yes, because you are reading, there's some things that you cannot avoid will be neglected. But it's not just to say, I couldn't do it. Can you find a way to make sure I can do it?
Okay, Daniel, be sincere now. Are you on social media? Are you on WhatsApp? Are you on Instagram? Are you on TikTok? Don't you respond to messages at those times when you are preparing for WAEC and when you're preparing for your S.A.T exam? Or you just neglected all the messages and after your exams you went back to them? Were you visible on social media when you were preparing for your examination? Be sincere now, because I know there are some students out there, they will say this boy must have put off the data all through the preparation for him to come out with 1,590 marks. So tell us, how were you able to manage social media distractions?
So yes, I was still active on most things: WhatsApp, Snapchat, Instagram.
Wow.
I still watch TikTok, but I reduced it. Like especially TikTok, because I don't know how, but you can just start and go. You don't know when you stop. So I stopped watching TikTok for a while because I knew it took a lot of my time. The rest is just to reduce the amount of time you spend. Like my Instagram now has a time limit for every day. TikTok too has a time limit for every day. WhatsApp and Snapchat to just make decision that I need to reply this message. Or sometimes you don't even you can just decide, I don't need to see this notification, just turn notifications. But
you put off your notification.
Yes. But I was still online when I needed to talk to people. When I was free and I wanted to talk to my friends, I would still talk to them. I didn't say, okay, let me lose my social life because I'm writing an exam. No, after there's still life after the exam, so I made sure I still talk to you, but I reduced the amount of time
Reduce the time you spent on social media. That is good. So Daniel told us now that during the preparation for the exam, he reduced the time he spent on social media, put up the notification to avoid distractions. I hope you got that. And he said he gave a time limit, especially for TikTok. So be careful. I hope you get that. So my last question for Daniel today is that for students like me and for students out there and for our viewers, can you give us exam preparation strategy? How can we plan, just to summarize everything that we've had you said since? What are the exam preparation strategy? In his WAEC, he had A's. He had A's. He came out in flying colors. In his S.A.T exam, he came out in flying colors. He even appeared on Punch newspaper. He didn't send me that, I'm just telling you. So summarize to us, what are the exam preparation strategies you can give to students out there? So I'll take that again. What are the exam preparation strategies you can give to students and curious students out there that wish to also pass excellently in their examinations?
Okay, what I would say, number one, most importantly, don't deceive yourself. Don't, if you can't, if you're not, you know your strength, you're not so good. Don't read like you are the best. You know that you are good. Read like you are good. Let's leave it like that. Number two, have a goal. Know what you have. You can't just say, oh, I want to do all. I want to do what is not a goal. I want to get this score. I want to get in this range. That's number two. Number three, don't just have the goal. Having the goal is half of the problem. Have a plan towards the goal.
A plan.
If I want to score this score, what do I need to get this score? Okay, let's say for my S.A.T, I wanted to get 1550. What do I need to get 1550? That is 7. Because naturally I was better at English before I wrote the exam. I told myself I would get a 760, which is a very high score in English, and maybe I'll push myself and get a 790. So what do I need to get a 790? That means you at most you miss only one question.
Wow.
So I took math more serious because I knew that I was fall short. When I started taking tests, I was always scoring higher in English, which was somehow. So in the beginning, I spent days consistently on math. Then I saw that, oh, I'm really good in math now. Let me focus back to English. I had a plan. I broke it down. I had benchmarks to the point that, oh, I would see a question, and before I could see the options, I could predict the answer. I had a plan. I was taking it little by little. So once you have a plan, it makes it easier to get to your goals. And number three, relax. You will not, if you relax, because if you fail the exam, if you pass the exam, you will not die. So sometimes, if you are going to pass it, taking breaks is efficient, because if you keep reading, it will get to a point where it's just passing by and you won't know. You will think that, oh, I read this yesterday, I'm not doing it again. But you get to the example, I don't know this. So when you want to start again, you go to that new thing. And number three, have faith in God.
I think that's number 4.
Number 4, sorry, yeah.
Have faith in
because
God.
There were some times when I was scared. God, I beg. That was I just telling me, like when I first started, and I was just seeing some years ago. Like when I first test I wrote, I got I think 1 for something. I was like, God, I beg, this is what I'm going to get in the exam. Even the day before, God, I beg, what am I going to do this exam? So I got to a point I realized that you've done your best. You've done your best. There's nothing else you can do. Just leave the rest. And I left the rest. And eventually, so I got what I got.
So you had faith in God. Did you fast, do prayers, held hands with your prayer partners, family members, days of dry fasting, and many others for God to really, really intervene? So we want you to tell us the truth.
Well, okay, I think it was the day before the exam, I fasted, yes. But I didn't go to mountain. I didn't kabasha every time. Yes, I still prayed for the exam. Like I prayed like anyone that's in the exam, but I didn't start doing, I didn't start bringing down fire. But even with that, it wasn't just the praying part. I also believed.
Wow.
So praying is not just
praying is one
thing.
Believe.
So eventually I started saying that, okay, you are going to do well. You're going to do well. Okay, there were occasional times where I was afraid, but like God has done it. I was already seeing improvement. Like you're going to do well. So I believed.
Thank you very much, Daniel. We appreciate you and I'm clapping for you. More grace, more strength, and more win. My viewers, I'm sure you've learned one or two things from what Daniel has told us today, from all the strategies Daniel gave us. He mentioned a point that struck me while he was rounding up. He said, don't just pray, believe that God has answered your prayers. And you is normal to feel anxious. He said he was afraid, but he told himself, calm down and believe in God. And he told us you need to plan. Don't just have a goal, plan around your goal. If you notice you are doing well in a particular topic or subject, move to another, then come back to that later and revise and create time for what you also love doing. He loves playing football. He loves watching match. He created time for it. He created time for his family. He created time for house chores and many other things needed from him as a teenager. But he has this vision and a goal of what he wanted. He planned 1,550 marks and he ended up having 1,590. That is a very good planning, and we thank God for making that a reality for him. That can also be a reality for you. Plan, read, carry God along, and be yourself. I remain your host, Anoluwapoluwagbayela, and I hope you are blessed with RB Splash. Keep watching RB Splash. Make sure you like, you subscribe, and you share with your friends. Don't be selfish. I love you. See you some other time. Bye.